And welcome everyone to EWA podcast number 43. I am your host Craig, and we have an exciting one here for you today. Recording this one a little after 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. How else would I want to spend my Saturday morning than with this guy right here, current EWA World Heavyweight Champion underneath Al Snow, Dylan. Thank you for joining the EWA podcast. Thank you for being here. It is an absolute treasure and treat to have you, sir.
Thank you. What a wonderful intro.
Yeah, I mean, I know you were expecting me to be a little like,
Here's this
me.
prick.
Yeah. Like, here's our dumbass world champion. And no,
That's how it usually goes, yeah.
Dylan, 2007, man. Like, not to jump right into it, but that's when you joined the EWA as Al Snow. What a journey it's taken to get here. Probably the longest, you would have to think, in EWA history, the longest, like, start to finish journey. You know, John talked about almost 200 role plays written. I'm sure you remember each and every one of them. I own your book, which I assume is just a book of, forgotten Al Snow role plays, right?
Very similar. Yeah. I was actually going to take some of the role plays and just change the names around and then put them in the book. I thought that's a little cheap.
Yeah, I did notice there was a character named the Moo Beanie in there. The Moo Bleenie or something.
What story was that?
I don't remember. I was just it looked like the Blue Meanie. I don't know. You just switched the names around.
Oh.
I don't think you did that. You're actually trying to. I was like, did I really do that? You didn't.
Yeah, I really was like, it sounds like something I would do. Yeah.
No, you didn't do anything like that. But no, a long journey. We'll talk about how you kind of got to this point here. Really, those who aren't familiar, who have joined within the last couple months or so. EWA went through a storyline last summer and kind of into the fall where this masked attacker was kind of attacking and taking out some of the high level people in EWA, as far as like Jamie Noble, Hangman Adam Page, and the likes of some others. And then obviously the show, the Slam, right before Super Brawl, December 26th, it's revealed that masked attacker is Al Snow, a new attitude Al Snow with a little bit of a different take on it. Was it the plan all along, Dylan, or was this just kind of something that Newt kind of reached out and was like, hey, I think this would be a good idea if this is how it played out? Or what, did it come together at the 11th hour, or was this kind of the plan from the beginning when the masked attacker stuff started?
No, that you pretty much nailed it with that first part. I think somebody else was supposed to be the masked attacker and was supposed to lead up to a really good story at Super Brawl. And in, quite typical EWA fashion, they just didn't follow through with it. So Newt was like, hey, maybe this is like too wacky of an idea, which is quite ironic. But why don't, what do you think about bringing Al Snow back and making him the mask guy? Because I had effectively retired, if you will. I hadn't been on the boards for a long time, except to write role plays about the Ellen Show.
Of course, you have to stick with what you know.
Yes, it's very important. The EWA needed that, but for the most part, I'd retired and hadn't really thought about bringing Al Snow back. So I was like, yeah, I can come back for Super Brawl. That'd be neat. Yeah, I'll be the guy that hit everybody over the head with a chair. That's fine. That suits me. And so, yeah, it was pretty late in the day where he's like, do you want to do this? I'm like, okay, cool. And it worked out really well because I think on my team, it was just me and Corey. It was like a 3-man team, but 2 of his characters were the tag champions, I think. So it worked out really well. Like, even though we were kind of under the gun, like, me and Corey worked really well together. Yeah. It was really easy for us to script something silly together and post that. And then after that, I'm like, well, that's the end of it, right? That was fun. All right, bro, I wrote some role plays. I can go home again. And then I kind of forgot about it till Civil War. That's why nothing happened between December and March or April or whatever.
Well, let's not jump right into Civil War yet. Let's kind of stick around that Super Brawl. You actually do the draft as the masked man. Like, nobody knows it's Al Snow at that point when you're kind of putting the team together. Talk about that experience. Writing for Super Brawl. We've done so many, but you put your team together, and then you have the whole group project experience. And I apologize. I'm trying. I had the draft pulled up here, but there wasn't a whole lot in there. So I was trying to look and see who you wound up having on your team there in the Super Brawl match.
I think it was Swinger's Palace, right? I think it was
Yeah.
Disco and Johnny Swinger, because we wrote some role plays where Al Snow went to their casino. I have no idea what the hell goes on in the EWA anymore. And then Corey's like, yeah, Disco Inferno's a tag champion. And he has his casino, and I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty right for the EWA.
Yeah.
So
On point.
right, and because me and Corey had spent most of the last year doing the Allen role plays, we thought it'd be really funny if the hook of those role plays were the Johnny Swinger and Disco Inferno heard that somebody was coming to visit the casino. And they strangely, I don't know why, but they assumed it was Ellen DeGeneres. So they all get dressed up and get ready to have a good time. Welcome Alan into their casino, and then it turns out the person is Al Snow, who just chews them out and calls them idiots. And so it all came together like really naturally. That whole thing. That was we were really happy with that. We were like, we could win it. This could be brawl number 79 that we win or whatever.
Yeah.
We won a lot of Super Brawls.
Unfortunately, that was not in the cards for this one. Fell short, and then like you said, you take a break, and it sounds like it wasn't like okay, I'm just gonna lay low till Super Brawl thing. But then the Super Brawl idea comes together, and my assumption is you weren't aware or probably thought of the whole Doink situation, but just how that all kind of fell into place was perfect. Like I join up and start playing as Doink, and then I assume, and call me out if I'm wrong here, Newt has the idea of like, oh, this is like a great idea to have like this second Doink character. So were you as surprised with not the result? I'm sure you were surprised with the result, but with how it played out with the second Doink. Did you have any idea when you were reading the match itself? You're like, wait, is it a second? Could this be?
Yeah, I was reading it going, because when it got to like number 30 was the second Doink, right? And I knew you'd been doing some stuff with Doug the Clown. So by the time I got to number 30, it was like a second Doink. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm not in this.
Yeah.
Like an idiot. Like I couldn't even see it myself. I'm like, I busted my ass role playing for this thing, and I'm not even in it. And then I don't know, like how stupid was I? And then of course the twist is that it was Al Snow under the clown makeup. I'm like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's really smart. That's really clever. And it probably pissed some people off, so it's even better, you know what I mean? So I thought that was really smart. And again, Newt, he's got a good brain for this kind of stuff, He like you said, that all kind of made sense. It was all quite organic. It was a really good idea. And none of us thought of it.
Well, yeah, you kind of have both sides of the reaction here on this podcast, because when the second Doink came out, I was like, all right, well, is this me? Because like I knew that like like I knew my Doink stuff wasn't great that week, but I was still pretty happy with it, So when he was like Doink number 1 eliminated, and I was like, that was probably me. But there's another Doink in there, and I was trying to figure out, like, you're trying to put together who it is, and obviously I mean, it makes sense, like, I guess in kayfabe sense, like, Al Snow has probably the same build as whatever, the Doink is. If you're looking, because Kevin Owens came back as a surprise there, so that probably wouldn't make sense. Somebody large with a beard, it kind of just, it just kind of worked. So you see that end result, and well, I'm sure that was your goal, was to get that win like that. And, Al Snow has such a long history in Civil War. It still had to have been a surprise.
Yeah, it was. It felt really weird. It was kind of like, oh, now what do we do next year? Like every year, it's like a thing. Like every year, Al Snow turns up at the Civil War and doesn't win. you know. So to actually have won it for the like, that's the first time I've ever won the Civil War, and I'm super happy about that I've actually fucking done it, you know.
Yeah.
Because there's been a ton of times where I'm like being a serious character, and you think, oh, I've got this, I've totally got this, you know.
Hmm.
And then somebody comes in and like steals it right from underneath you, and you're like, next year. You know, that's the
Yeah.
worst thing. Having to
Yeah.
go, I'll get it next year. You gotta wait another fucking 360 days to get there. You know.
I think I don't know. I don't want to like. Obviously, this podcast is about you and Al Snow and your stuff and everything. But when it came to Civil War, I was like, I was really happy with all my stuff. Like 15 role plays across the board and stuff. And I was like, I don't think I have winning stuff anywhere. But as long as I have like a lot of eliminations, like I'll feel pretty cool about it. And I had like
Yeah.
three. And like
Yeah.
Joey Janela eliminated Luther, and I was like, well, I eliminated myself at some point. So, I'm not gonna say I left Civil War disappointed because you're obviously every year it's pretty fun to read and stuff. But I
Yeah.
definitely left it. I was like, man, I wish. Well, I have to wait till next year, so just
Yeah. You're like, wish it done a little bit better in that
yeah.
one.
But I mean, it's
I've
it's
done that too.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
understandable. It's just it's so hard, and I've written a match or two like on that scale. It's just so difficult
Yeah.
to put that all together and to have
Yeah.
the you know you want to reward someone for their work, but you don't. I mean, yeah, because I think Roman had the most eliminations in that match, and it was well deserved. So it was like,
Yeah.
it was kind of one of those things where it's like, Dylan's work was the best of the week, so I felt like he got the win. And I'm not saying Dimitri wasn't second best, but you're probably looking at it like Roman had the second best work, so he has like 8 eliminations throughout the course of the match.
Yeah.
So it's such
Yeah.
a hard thing to put together.
I think so. Like, I don't know how so I could never figure out how to put that kind of match together.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's too much. It's too daunting. There's too many moving pieces. Too many things to figure out. I just be like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
match is canceled.
That's
Nope,
the thing,
not
yeah.
doing it.
I know that you would struggle with something like that because you have to actually try.
Oh.
All right, so we come out of Civil War, we head towards Mayan Mayhem, and this is where the Al Snow trajectory to post Civil War win it gets kind of, I guess, convoluted, a little bit murky. You bring in Kevin Owens, which makes sense. You guys have the long history, you and Dimitri and everything, and then you bring in John with Santino, who has kind of been a major part of the world title scene. He had lost it heading, or actually there at Civil War
At
to
Civil War, yeah.
to Jeff. So you kind of have these, these main pieces, and I don't know what the goal was. As far as like the match idea for Maya Mayhem, I had heard rumors that the Red, White, and Bruise match was supposed to be at Mayan Mayhem, but things, real life and people's availability kind of changed that. But there were just a lot of moving pieces in the world title scene. Talk about the build through Mayan Mayhem.
Well, we just figured that, since Al Snow won the Civil War, he had to cash in a title shot at some point. But if you read the role plays I did for Civil War, there like a big theme of it is that Al Snow is really annoyed that Santino won the championship before he did.
Yeah.
I thought
But who wouldn't be, right?
I mean, yes, but at the same time, like Al Snow was like, Santino before Santino. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, it makes sense for that, because then I'm like, well, this is perfect. This is like a built-in storyline. This is perfect. Like if I was to win Civil War, I'll go and fight Santino. It's a lock. It'll be perfect. And then, like I did win Civil War, but then John didn't win his title match. So I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Let's do something else. I didn't anticipate working with Jeff, although I do like working with Jeff, man. He's a good guy. He's a really good writer. So then I was just going to do an angle with Dimitri at Mayhem or whatever it is that was called,
Nailed it.
and let something happened in the world title scene, and then I would cash in my title shot at Red, White, and Bruised. That's what the plan was, and I, then we kind of gimmicked it a little bit to get to Red, White, and Bruised. We'll
Right.
have a screwy finish at Mayhem, so that Al cashes his title shot in, but it doesn't really count. Like there's a shenanigans there, so we can have a rematch at Red, White, and Bruised, and then there's reasons for Santino and Owens to be involved as well. So it all kind of, organically fell into place at some point.
And then you get through Mayan Mayhem, and you get to the 4-man match at Red, White, and Bruised, the King of the
Yes.
Mountain.
Yeah.
I want to talk about real quick. You probably have this idea for this role play series in your head, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Dimitri posts his first and has a very similar like story and theory. Like what I try to think of like what my reaction would be like. I'd be like, oh God, do I need to change mine now? Or like what were your thoughts whenever you saw the Dimitri, who you knew was gonna be one of your major challengers in the match, was kind of doing the same thing?
I thought that was a beautiful piece of symmetry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I had that idea the week before. I'm like, oh cool, I could probably write 3 role plays with this. And so I had started them, and then I think I read, he posted his before I posted mine. So I read his first one as I was writing mine. I'm like, okay, this is good. That we both kind of had to see or a similar idea going into a title, and it's weird that does happen sometimes.
Right.
Do you remember the Super Brawl
Yeah.
where
Planes,
everybody
Trains, and
was on
Automobiles.
airplanes?
Yeah. Where it's just like, it was like all of our group role plays too, where it's just like once the first 2 posted, I think I was like the third team to post, and I was like, guys, we got a problem.
We were in trouble.
Everybody's doing airplane role plays this year.
Yeah.
So
And the best thing is, that whenever like all 4 groups individually, they're throwing out ideas, and everyone's like, "That's a great idea. Why don't we all be on an airplane?"
Here's the thing, nobody's thinking of this, okay? Airplane role play. You're like, yeah.
It's been years since anybody's done a role play about being on an airplane. We got this. It's perfect. No one will see it coming.
That's like back in the day. I say back in the day, but I just mean just like 5 or 6 years ago. Well, yeah, yesterday when people were like, for Super Bowl role plays, they're like, what do you guys think about group therapy? And everybody's like, that's genius. And then like every year for like 6 years, someone's like, we're going to group therapy to like have it just everybody thinks they have the most original idea, and then it winds up being something. So you wind up getting the win there, huge win.
Yeah.
Take me through, because I didn't have to wait as long when Cody won the title, but I remember the emotions that I had, because it just means a lot, and I know it now. I know it sounds silly to say, well, it's really emotional to like get that win, but you put a lot of time and effort into it, and your character becomes something. Okay, some people put time and effort into it, and you care about the story that you've written and how you got there. So talk about seeing the name boldened and the new world champion crown at Red, White, and Bruised.
I mean, that was really nice. I was kind of like, because I was thinking about, the thing is, when I won Civil War, I was like, shit, now I have to keep role playing.
Yeah.
So then I was really close to sending New to PM and saying, just, I don't want to win the belt. Dimitri can have it. John can have it again. He loves it, right?
Yeah.
Somebody else can have a go. But then I was like, I just want to see how good these role plays are. You know what I mean? I think that's deep down is what we all do this for. We really are like, I want to see how good these role plays are. Like, are they good? Do they make sense? Is it worth winning the title with? You know what I mean? So I thought, all right, let's see how they do. And then again, when I see my name, Al Snow, I'm like, wow, I won. Shit, I have to keep role playing now.
Yeah. And this is where it gets like challenging as a writer, because the chase, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's easier than writing the title defenses. Like, to be on top is almost completely new and different way to write, and it can be really challenging as a writer, and you're right, like you have that initial feeling where you're like, yes, I did it. I'm the champ. And then like your initial secondary reaction is, oh shit. You know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
my whole story has been about the chase. It's been 15 years of Al Snow chasing the title, and now that I have it, like I have to
what do
think
you
about,
do?
yeah, how am I gonna pivot? And it,
Yeah,
it's really really tough. And unless you have something built in to your story, like it's a really tough transition to make.
yeah. I mean, but also like I didn't really plan on Al Snow being a serious character either. Like that in my head, like I was always gonna keep him a silly weirdo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, well, if he can't win the belt being silly, I don't want it, right? It was only really whenever Newt suggested the kind of heel turn, like, okay, there is actually like a story here. There's stuff you can do with it. Um, so I think there is still some mileage with it, because he was a comedy character for so long. I think that there's definitely some stuff I can do with him now. Um,
Well, let me
but
ask you
yeah,
this.
it's weird, being the champion again.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's
yeah.
nice.
Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, you have that Al Snow character, the way that he is with the antics and the zaniness and stuff.
Hmm.
Does winning the title, winning the world title with Al Snow, but having to change the character, or I guess not having to change it to win, but having the change before winning it, and does it feel like maybe not a little, does it feel a little disappointing to just be like, well, it's not zany Al Snow winning? I mean, you kind of brought it back with like the multiverse stuff, but I don't know. I was
Yeah.
kind of wondering how you felt about like, does it feel different or not different, but just does it have a different feeling because it's not the Al Snow that was the Al Snow for 14 years?
I mean, kind of, yeah. Like I said, I really wanted to win it with. I mean, there's just like a weird sense of pride about being able to
Yeah,
win any kind of match with bullshit role plays about hot air balloons,
yeah,
right?
yep,
Um, there's a weird like sense of satisfaction you get where you're like, somebody else really put a lot of effort into their role play and I didn't,
yeah,
and I win, you know. Um, but at the same time, like I said, I feel like the Al Snow character now is still fun to write, and I didn't think it would be. I
right.
didn't think a serious Al Snow would work, but I think I made it work because I don't think that he's like a different character than most of my other serious characters, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
He's a little more like depressed. He's a little more angry.
Mm-hmm.
A little, which is funny because he's done like such a 180, right, from the Al Snow that he used to be, and it's kind of hard to remember that they're the same person because, like you said, so many people. I don't know if they fondly remember Al Snow, but they certainly, if they've read any Al Snow roleplay, they remember it, right? It's quite something. So maybe people are really used to that Al Snow because I feel like people would have wanted, like, it's the feel good thing. People would have wanted that Al Snow to win,
Yeah.
and in a way that makes it work too because now he's a heel and he's won it. That adds to like the heel heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all kind of works out in this strange, beautiful way. You know?
And I think it was such a tough question to ask, but I think that's where I was going. Is everyone wanted to see Goofy Owl win, so
Yeah.
to have to like kind of stray from the character and then have the success after straying from it, like that would be such an internally you're happy, but it's just, man, I wish I was doing this iteration of this character still.
Kind of. I mean, I think I just got bored of it. I didn't
Yeah.
think I ever would, but then at some point you're like, how many more role plays about stupid stuff can I write? I think I just run out of stuff to say. Um,
Did you find the
so
transition difficult to like put Al into that serious light, or did you have an idea of how you wanted to make that turn with him when the time came?
no, I had never like put any thought into it at all. Like I said, I never really expected Al Snow to be the serious character. I just wanted him to go to jail, and then I forgot about him.
Yeah.
That seemed like the easiest way to write people off is that they're all in prison now. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, Dylan,
No.
Jerry Seinfeld, all on the same spectrum here as far as talent
Yes,
goes.
we all have the same philosophy when it
I
comes to
agree.
getting rid of our stupid characters. It's just
Jail.
yeah, they're probably criminals. That's the end of it, right?
Well,
No,
Al Snow is definitely a criminal. Things that have happened in old Al role plays would definitely net him jail time, so that's fair.
yeah, I think they killed somebody a couple of times.
Well, I don't want to get into that. This is a PG podcast.
No. Okay, well, it was in the past. We've all made
Yeah.
mistakes.
Statute of limitations on Al Snow's murder has definitely passed by.
If Alec Baldwin can move on, then I
Well,
can move on.
Well, that's a timely topical reference. Yes.
Remember him? He's still going. Right? He's still
Yeah.
still right.
I mean, everybody talks about him constantly now, so great reference.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
When was that they killed somebody? That was not long ago. Was
So,
it?
anyways, welcome to our third guest, Alec Baldwin.
How good would that be?
Dude, if like a little bubble popped up like up here, and it was just like Alec was like, "Hello, it's great to be here with Dylan." That's my Alec Baldwin impersonation.
That's not bad.
Did you like that?
That's not bad.
I mean, you can't see me just because of how this is set up. So if I just talk like that, do you think it's Alec? Dylan, it's a real pleasure to be here. I love your work.
Hi, Alec. Do you have any tips about how to kill someone and get away with it?
Yeah, just go to jail. Just go to jail. Just go to jail.
Doesn't sound like I
Yeah,
away with
you
it.
get away with it. No, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Just go to jail.
Anyway.
Yeah, back to the question.
Stay away from Alec Baldwin for a little bit. I forgot.
You didn't have any plans on how to make the Al character serious. You just kind of.
I just kind of did it. Yeah, I just would give it a go because it happened at Super Brawl. He was a serious character, so I did some serious role plays, and then I figured you got to keep it going, right? It doesn't make sense for him to be a bad guy at Super Brawl and then be a good guy at Civil War. He still needs to have that edge to him.
Yeah.
He had like a real melancholiness to him, which I really liked, and I didn't expect, But then it all worked out perfectly. The idea of him having wrestled for 15 years to never win this match, to never win the heavyweight championship, added perfectly to this. He's like a big bundle of sadness. You know what I mean? Like he spent his 15 years being an idiot, and it didn't get him anywhere, and now he's very reflective about that. I'm like, that's it all works out really well.
We're
surprised this worked. This shit never works well.
Well, this is 2022, year of Dylan. It's happening for you, man.
Yeah,
However, though, we're really going to test the listeners now and see how interested they are in the podcast. This is not your first EWA World Heavyweight Championship reign. Not a lot of people know this, and people who are here in the EWA now probably don't even know that this title reign existed because they really don't go back and read a lot. There are a couple, but yeah, those who have been around a long time, there are a few select that know that are in the know, but a lot of people don't know. Not your first world title reign. You actually had a reign as well. Go ahead.
I've had several reigns before.
Nope, just one.
Lance Storm.
Oh yeah, that's right. Steve Blackman.
Steve Blackman.
Yeah.
I won it twice with Steve Blackman. I was very pleased. But then the second time the boards broke.
Oh.
Did people remember the boards
when
breaking?
Sarah updated it?
Yeah. So I finally won the belt. I beat John the second time, and I was so happy because whenever you beat John for the title,
yep,
like I did it. I feel accomplished. I really felt like I'm like yes. Oh my god, that's satisfying. Like I fucking did it. And a week later, the boards break. I'm like, fuck, dude, nobody's here to see me win the belt.
Quick aside, he really does feel like a final boss sometimes. And I'm not trying to downplay anyone else in the EWA, but there is that feeling to it where it's just like, And it's not that he's like a final boss, but it's just like, I beat this guy who I know is a super talented writer. And you read his stuff during the week and you're like, oh God. And then you get the win and you're like, that's a testament to John and his character and his writing and stuff. But when you beat him, especially in like a high stakes match.
Yeah, it's like you remember it. You're like, yes, dude, because he is so good, like consistently good.
Yeah.
Really annoying how consistently good he is.
Yeah, I'm annoyed by John too.
Um, that's the only thing that annoys me about him, though. His goodness.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know.
This hasn't been edited.
But then, like, so the boards broke, and then we went to the temporary boards
Yeah.
before the new boards came up. So
Yep.
on the temporary boards, we just continued business as usual. And then I lost the belt to Kurt Angle in the temporary boards. So when the real boards came back up, everybody saw Kurt Angle was the champion, and I'm like, I just wasted like 2 months.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was supposed to be my moment.
Dude, I remember when the boards went down and we had like at that point there was no Discord, there was no means of communication, and like Newt had like a Twitter account that didn't have any activity, and we were like, "What? That Dad? What's happening?" They just have like no idea what's going on. Like we were just in the dark. People were like F5ing on the forum like multiple times a day to see if it came back. It was a wild time.
It was havoc. It's crazy. I don't even remember how we found the temporary boards or anything like this. Or how we get the new boards back, or whatever. I don't remember.
I think we wound up putting together like a Facebook group.
Maybe that's what it was.
And Newt made a profile that remember was a really buff old woman. Yeah. And he was in the Facebook group with us, and he was like, he was kind of telling us and pointing us in the right direction. But yeah, then that's when we decided to do a little better at communicating after that. But then Newt died around Super Brawl a couple years ago, and everything changed to where
but then they brought in the second Newt, you know.
Oh yeah, fake Newt.
Yeah,
like when Paul McCartney died.
That's what I was gonna say. You know he's a fake Newt because he's not wearing shoes on the Abbey Road cover.
Yeah, well,
that's how you know.
Yeah. And then I just remember that Super Brawl where Newt died. John was like posting the new results on Monday, and Newt showed up Sunday night, and he's like, "I'm back."
Yeah.
John had written a whole set of results, and we're like, "No, don't read the boards. We didn't have a contingency plan in place. Glad you're feeling better."
Unless you didn't have me win, in which case let's stick with the John one where I did win. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure in John's it was like Pete Dunne winning or something. I just think this is who had the best story this week.
Steve Carino comes back again. You're like, oh yeah, I'm back, guys.
Why is Cody Rhodes getting hit by a chair by Steve Carino in the Super Brawl? This doesn't make any sense.
Again? Boy, Cody Rhodes, there's no luck.
John's a one-trick pony. Just goes back to that every time. So I don't know why he holds a grudge about it. He's so petty.
I like how we've synced back into talking with John again.
Okay, we're done. No more John. The one EWA World Heavyweight Championship reign that you haven't mentioned yet was
Samuel Shaw, I believe, is the one you're referring to.
Yeah,
that's the other one.
Your run as Samuel Shaw. Nobody knew that was you. That was just kind of a character profile on the board, but yeah, you kind of ran it in secret. It was vastly different from anything else that you were doing at the time. Certainly different from the Al Snow stuff. I remember reading the Shaw stuff and just being so, taken back by how dark it was sometimes, but not dark. not dark in like a depressing, awful way, but just like I remember the stuff you did with Bo Dallas, and you had Bo in like Shaw's basement, and just you were doing some different stuff there, but the writing was off the charts phenomenal. No offense to any of your other work, but some of the best work you've ever put out there was the Shaw stuff, because it was so gritty and emotional and real, even in the sense of what was happening in the Shaw role plays. But just talk about your time and getting that all put together, and then running that character and that run that you had with him.
Well, thank you for those very sweet words about Samuel Shaw. I really liked it too, because I don't remember. I think somebody had. I don't know if you get this. I used to get this where I'd see somebody sign up on the boards as somebody that I like, and they'd role play for like a week or two, and it's really like, a regular, like, nondescript. It could be anybody in that role play, and you're like, oh, you're kind of doing a disservice to this guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's how I started with Steve Blackman. Is somebody had posted a Blackman role play. I'm like, I could do better than that. And so somebody had done a Samuel Shaw application like a months before this, and they disappeared. And I'm like, man, if I was running a Samuel Shaw thing, this is what I do. And then I was like, well, why don't I just do it, right? And I just thought like, how do I make this like super weird? Like if you're gonna make like a strange, like almost supernatural character, how do you make the role plays reflect that? Like how do you make him seem like he's an otherworldly, like a weird, spooky guy, without just like changing the font color to red or something,
Right.
like
Yeah.
what do you do with him? Like how do you make him move and talk and stuff? Um, like what do you do with him? The Bo Dallas thing kind of came out of nowhere because I think that was
You weren't Bo Dallas, right? Like you kind of just
no,
inherited him. This was
yeah,
before Jeff had him.
I think that was Chalmers had Bo Dallas
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
and I don't remember why we started tag teaming together, but we did, and we
I
won
think
the
it was
titles.
Super Brawl that brought you guys together.
Maybe
I
that's
want
what
to
it
say,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. But we started like we were doing really well together, and then he disappeared, and I'm like, this is perfect because now you have like a foil against
Mm-hmm.
Samuel Shaw, because Bo Dallas is kind of like he was a heel, but he was like I had him like an optimistic like dumb idealistic fool, like he was running some kind of like Chalmers was having him run some kind of like fake um health system, like the Bo Dallas system or something like that.
Yeah.
So he was like fleecing people for their money, and I played him more like he meant well. He just was being a villain,
Simple.
kind of
Yeah.
accidentally. And I thought he like his naivete plays really well against Samuel Shaw's like obviously um evil intentions. Like they worked perfectly together. I'm like, this is because there's no way I would ever pick up Bo Dallas, right? Like what
Right.
the
Yeah.
fuck. So like this works perfectly. And again in like a very EWA kind of, it's Bo Dallas and Samuel Shaw, the best tag team of all time, right? Obviously. So I was really like kind of happy with how that played. I got away with that for a long time. Like I don't know how I role played as that guy for so long. Um, because it's really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, because
I
you have
mean,
to format it really weirdly.
yeah.
Um,
You actually you won Super Brawl as the captain. I don't see you
yeah.
winning it with the forming that tag team. That might have been like a lethal lottery type thing.
Yeah,
2016,
maybe.
you
Yeah.
led a team of Brock Lesnar, Sandow, and Morella. So it looks like you had Key and John on your team in 2016 when you got that win.
Yeah, and that's huge as well, man. I was super like happy with that because um like not a whole lot of people have been able to defend the title of Super Brawl.
Oh yeah, you went in as champion. I forget
Um
about that. Yeah.
so I
Yeah, it
was
was a
like
rarity.
super, yeah, I was like that rules, dude. To be able to do that. Although like, Samuel Shaw was like a secret character, so I'm like I've done that, but nobody knows that I did that.
Well,
you
they
know.
do now. All 7 people who have watched this podcast, and since I'm going to title it something about Alec Baldwin, those who find it accidentally because of the Alec Baldwin title will know that you won and defended your title at Super Brawl as Sam Shaw.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be like, this podcast is very strange, except for the bit in the middle where Alec Baldwin made an appearance.
Yeah, because you don't know any better. He's right here.
Yeah.
Dylan, I loved your work in Super Brawl 2016.
Thank you very much, Alec Baldwin.
Let's go to jail.
Let's go. Okay, you make it sound like a fun, happy date.
Yeah.
You wanna go to jail? Okay, Alec Baldwin.
Well,
Tell me how.
yeah, I would go anywhere he asked me to. That's
Well, I
the
wouldn't
thing.
go anywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. A film set in Mexico, wherever, bud. I'll go.
It's gonna go there.
I'll go wherever. So let me ask you this. Let's take aside Al Snow, and let's take aside anyone that you've won the world championship with.
Yes.
Who has been some of your favorite characters that you've had to write with that like maybe didn't take off like that?
Okay, my favorite of the non heavyweight champions.
Yeah.
Probably gonna disappoint you. but it's the colognes.
That does disappoint me. And the thing is I knew that was going to be your answer, and I almost tried to exclude them too, but that's fine.
Life 2, it's the colognes and Raven, because I played Raven a long time
Oh,
ago,
okay.
and I really liked that Raven because it was like a very like depressing, but also
Mm.
kind of like self-deprecating kind of guy. He's miserable, but he knows it. It's like it's all his fault, and he doesn't do anything to change it. Which is what I kind of imagine Raven to be like, but a little less serious than he is in real life. And I really like that Raven. Um, but I didn't know I didn't think it was going to go any further than what it did. And the colognes I love just because we were pretty sure that me and Corey did this thing where we were like, we wanted to come back and do stuff, but we also didn't want to do anything with anybody else, right?
Right.
Because sometimes whenever you're working with other people, it's tough to have to rely on everybody else and get storylines done. And we were like, it's just easier if we do it ourselves.
Because you can
There's no
count on and
consequence.
rely on each other. Yeah, like
Yeah, but there's no consequences. So
right.
even if we
Yeah.
do miss it, like nobody's gonna mind, right?
Right.
And we were like, how can we make the longest, stupidest storyline possible? And I said, we pick the blandest tag teams, sign up, and the only rule is every single one of our role plays has to be around the Allen show, which I didn't think Corey was going to think is a logical idea, and he was like, "Perfect, let's do that."
Oh,
Like,
surprise,
"Okay."
surprise.
Yeah, and so the fun we had doing those Allen shows is so funny because like there's no consequences. We didn't care if we won or lost. It wasn't important. The important thing was just seeing how we could mess up Ellen DeGeneres' life. So those were really really fun, like a lot of fun. You know, I always say to people, because like if you write a serious character, you get really into it. You get so into the character. So then you spend a lot of time writing this stuff and you put a lot of time and effort and energy into it. And then if you have a couple of losses with that guy, you feel really down about it because you were taking it so seriously. And I think that the way to counteract that is to always have like a silly character at the same time. So like whenever I was Blackman or Samuel Shaw or whatever, I was Al Snow at the same time. And so it's good to have a silly character to take the pressure off, so you don't have to worry about it. You can just screw around, and that helps. I think it really does help.
I mean, you're talking to the guy who runs Carnival Luther and Buff Bagwell. Like I've had my fair share
You've had some
of
shenanigans, yeah.
like I know that. Yeah, I know the deal. I'm very much like you, where it's like I need something that's just not stressful, but just not that I
Like
have
low
expectations for it. Yeah.
Yeah, just something you don't have to worry too much about. You're like, I can. You don't have to sit and plot down like, what's Doink the Klein's motivation for today's role play? You're like, he's a Klein.
Yeah, he's just a piece of crap. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Not a whole lot of stuff going on,
Yeah, there was a. I'm sure
skin,
you can. Yeah, I'm sure you can relate. There was a good stretch where I was like, how is Buff Bagwell going to incorporate Long John Silver's into his role play this week?
I remember that. It was like every week. You're like, how do I do it?
Yeah.
Did he buy it or own it or something?
No, maybe I don't know. He flew in a plane to Tokyo that was the biplane was sponsored by Long John Silver's or something. He might have. I think he was sponsored by it. Like they sponsored him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that shit's funny too because then when you write the serious ones, you always all your role plays have to be kind of grounded. You know what I mean? They're all realistic. But the dumb ones, you can do whatever you want, right? It's just words on a computer screen. So you can have Buff Bagwell fly in a biplane to Tokyo.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that makes sense,
I'm gonna put you on the spot here, big time.
Okay.
You've written so many BWO role plays. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a couple that are your favorites that you can remember?
Oh, of the BWO ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple. There's one. There's a couple of Super Brawl ones I wrote that I really liked that were like half serious, half silly. There's been a couple. There's one the ones when I brought D'Lo Brown in. Do you remember D'Lo Brown?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember why I brought D'Lo Brown in, but he was in the BWO and he didn't do anything. But he was I really liked him as a character. So I thought some of the ones with D'Lo were really funny. There was a couple with Clementine. I don't know why Clementine has become such a popular character either, because
Well,
that started off as like a silly joke, like
it's
a
an
one-off
orange,
joke.
so I mean.
Yeah, it's an orange. I thought it because Clementine's it's a girl's name as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a role play where it seems like Colt Cabana has a new girlfriend called Clementine, and then the swerve is it's actually an actual Clementine, a small orange. And
What
I
a
thought,
swerve, man!
I know, right? Nobody saw it coming. But then then she just kept like the idea of him being in love with an orange is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one where there was like a supervillain tried to kidnap Clementine, and then the BWO like fought the supervillain to stop him from kidnapping because he needed Clementine to power some kind of like mech suit or a death ray or something, or
the story tracks.
Or maybe he was gonna marry Clementine himself. I don't remember, but he had to kidnap Clementine, and so the BWO stopped him. So I remember that one. Just because I really like the silly ones. Some of the JoJo ones as well. I remember being really silly. I know you didn't really care for Bradley. The character.
Yeah, it was just that was a tough character.
Yeah, I mean at the time again it was just like it wasn't meant to like offend or anything like this. It was just supposed to be a silly character. And so the JoJo Bradley ones I really liked as well because they were really silly, you know. So I like those ones, yeah.
Well, there you
go.
go.
Don't have to talk about Bradley if you don't
no,
want to.
We probably won't touch on that with a 25-foot pole. So.
No, we'll move on. We'll just gloss on that. Don't worry about it.
Well, you've played a vast array of characters here. You've had a varying levels of success throughout multiple divisions, and no one can deny that right now you're the man on top of the mountain as a character that took a long time to get there, but you've made the ascent. It's it's been quite a journey for you, and you know it felt good to see all the people giving you the appropriate, you know, kudos and flowers in the reactionary thread. So
that was nice. Yeah, it's strange because you never because I remember when I started doing Al Snow, people did not like that character at all. Nobody liked it. Everybody hated it. But again, the point of it wasn't to win over the people. It was just me and Bryce fucking about, right? So the fact that people hated it made us like it even more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we were that kind of people. We were like, oh, this is good. This is pissing people off. Let's keep going. And then we did. We kept going and wind up here somehow, you know? So it is funny how people are like, yo, well done. You deserved it. Whereas, like, you know, years ago, people would have been like, give up, Al Snow. This is the worst character you've ever created. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could do worse than this.
Well,
you know?
Just so you know, some people still think that.
Yeah, they probably do, like legit, which is even funnier because I'm like, well, now you have to deal with him. You know what I mean? Now he's on top. What are you gonna do with that?
Dylan, Alec Baldwin. I'm not a big fan of the Al Snow character, just so you know. But
well,
you should give that up.
I'm not a big fan of whatever it is you do, Alec Baldwin. I don't know. Are you a billiards player? What do you do?
All right, I'm going to jail. See ya.
See you later. Just. Can Alec Baldwin be like a recurring character?
Oh, yeah. I think the Colognes are about to have a long-standing series with Alec Baldwin coming up very soon.
Did you know that you could do an Alec Baldwin impression before you did it? Or were you surprised when it came out like that?
Let's just say that I have some experience with it, so not a surprise to me.
I mean, I've never seen Alec Baldwin and you in the same room at the same time.
That is true.
Have you been to prison recently?
So anyways, that's going to do it for the EWA. Before we end this here and before we shut it down, I do want to give you a chance to talk about some of the other projects that you have going on. You're a man of many talents, and you have a lot of irons in the fire. I know you do stuff with Bryce. I know you have stuff with John, and you're also doing your solo stuff where, not to step on your toes, but I know you're playing Animal Crossing every single day this year, and you're putting it up on YouTube. And I've been I haven't watched every video, but I have caught a couple because I'm a big Animal Crossing fan myself. But yeah, sorry to take that away from you, but talk about some of the other projects that you have going on and what all you're up to these days.
I mean, I don't expect everybody to watch all of them because we're almost at 200 episodes so far of Animal Crossing. They're a lot of fun, really a lot of fun. So on my YouTube page is Explodey Plays, where I play video games. And me and Bryce do a show called Making Kayfabe, which is really good. It's on iTunes and it's on YouTube as well, where we rebook wrestling storylines. So if you think of the shittiest wrestling storylines ever, we will change them and rebook them. So I think we've just finished the 6th season, so we're going into a 7th season later on this year. And we have a Patreon page, so check that out, Making Kayfabe. And you mentioned the book. I have a book that's available on Amazon.
The book.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I own the book.
Can you hold it up? I can't see.
You keep talking. I'm gonna go get the book. You keep talking, okay?
What, Alec Baldwin? What are you doing with my book? You know. So it's called The Wonderful World of Captain Explodey. It's available on Amazon as like not a hardback, as a paperback or as an ebook. But you know, you can. If you would like to buy it, you can buy it. That's up to you. And there's going to be a second one of them coming out pretty soon, maybe by the end of the year. I'm almost finished writing it. So, and then you can follow my Twitter page at Captain Explodey. What else do I do? Me and Corey and John are starting a new comic podcast very soon about comics and stuff like that. I don't know when that's coming out, so follow us on Twitter to stay abreast of that situation, I guess. And then what else? I think that's it. That's pretty much it.
All right, here's the book right here.
Is this really the book? You're not holding up a copy of the Bible or something, are you?
No, I'm flipping you off because I couldn't find the book, but I do own the book. It's with Mitch's book, who also is a published author. So I kept my EWA books together. So if any other EWA people are out there writing books, let me know. More than happy to support you guys in the group.
You know, we've all been doing this for so long. I think that a lot of us have gotten we've actually gotten good at writing just because, you know, we've been doing, it sounds silly, but we've been doing this for so long. We've all improved as writers. Yeah. So like now we probably could all, if you had if you wanted to, you could write your own book. I find writing the book was the easy part. The hard part was like getting it set up on Amazon, like getting the cover pages, formatting and all that shit took away. That was more stressful than writing the book. Writing the book was a piece of piss, man. You know.
Yeah. Well, reading it has been just as enjoyable.
As piss.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Excellent. Well,
Dylan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Man, thank you.
Hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think I talked enough while you were away. I think
I really did go look. I don't know. Yours and Mitch's book are somewhere, but they're within the house somewhere.
And then me and Alec Baldwin are going to be doing a podcast soon. I think I sent him emails about it. He hasn't got back to me yet, but I've got some plans.
You're gonna have to hit me up on MySpace. Someone's hacked my email.
Have you got drunk in the last 5 minutes?
Yes.
I'm really sick.
They serve alcohol in jail.
Well, it's like famous jail, right?
Jail. Of course. Yeah, it is. Okay.
It's a hotel, really. You know? Well, there you go. Something to look forward to. Me and Alec Baldwin.
Anything else you want to get out there, Dylan, before we shut her down here?
I do. Really quick, I want to say, like, I don't know if this is like cliched or whatever, but like it's amazing to me and probably to you as well that the EWA is still running at such high capacity in 2022. Like we all thought e-betting was dead when we started doing this, and somehow it's still going. And like some of the guys we have on the roster now are real, like they're incredible. Like they're so good, and we're really happy to see like a lot of new faces here. It's super awesome. You know, so thank you guys for turning up and sticking around, and you know, thanks to all the old folks like us, you, me, you know,
Yeah.
who just we can't get enough of that place. You know,
Just love
it's
it too much to stop. So
yeah, it's
that's how it goes.
it's weird, but it's a wonderful little like organization, little club to be in. You know, you're all good people.
Indeed. So thank you, everyone out there.
Yeah,
Go
and I'm
ahead,
the best
defense.
of them all, obviously.
Okay,
because
thanks
I'm
for
the best.
interrupting me for that. You're the best.
I want to be clear. I'm the best.
Well, thanks to the best, Dylan, for joining us here for EWA podcast number 43. I hope everyone out there has enjoyed this and had a good time. Once again, if you'd like to join the EWA podcast, please feel free to reach out to me on the forums, Discord, anywhere else where we might communicate. I would love to bring back the podcast in a little more consistently, you know, and just kind of catch up with people and meet new people and everything. And you can see if this idiot can do it, anyone can do it. Yeah, that's you. You're the idiot. Yeah. Dylan, thank you for coming on.
I wasn't sure if you're pointing to me or Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I'll point you.
Not an idiot, Dylan.
Sorry.
Been a pleasure,
Sorry,
man.
Alec.
Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah. No worries, man. This was fun. We'll do it again sometime.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.